Okay, hi everybody. I wanted to introduce you to my mom. This is Lynn Hanush. I'm not sure where she is on your screen. So she's up above me from mine. So if I keep pointing up there, I'm pointing to my mom. Mom, do you want to say hi?
Hi,
And Mom, where are you?
I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, inside my home.
Yep. Very good. Okay, so yeah, so now we've tested her memory, so we know that she knows where she is.
I had a place called Albuquerque Meadows. That's where I live.
That's good. So she and I were just talking, and I said, "Oh, Mom, can I record this?" Because in my Pray Serve Go group, we're starting to talk about ministries and how to figure out what you want to do. And right now, Mom's in kind of a transition in her life. My dad died back in February, and she's been traveling, and she's home now and kind of deciding like what she wants to do. She's one of those people who's always working for the Lord, and I just love that. And so I wanted to have her share a little bit, and we'll just do this conversationally. I wanted to have her share a little bit with you all about how she's going about deciding what she wants to do. She's already doing lots of ministry. Let me just put it that way, first of all. It's not like she's without things to do, but she's thinking about doing something. And I thought it'd be really good for y'all to hear her process in this. And she doesn't know yet if she's going to do this. So this isn't something that she's already decided. She's in that process right now. So Mom, what is it that you're looking at?
There's a mission downtown Albuquerque run by a lady, and our church sponsors her and the work there with some help, and we donate clothes and stuff and such. And anyway, I had talked to the pastor about it, about meeting with her sometime, and he says, "Oh, I'd love for you to meet her." And so first he gave me a video so I could see
Oh, cool.
her of,
Good.
on a news program and
Uh-huh.
sharing what she did. That was really good.
And what
And
is it that she does?
she ministers to the homeless in that area, and she has food area. She has clothing for them. She has beds. They were able to purchase some land with donations and build or put actually a mobile home on it, a mobile building.
Wow.
A couple of them actually. And then I guess they're just kind of empty ones. They're not made into homes, not sectioned off so much. And so they fixed that up, and they put beds in, and they have, women's side and men's side and things like that.
Okay. And so have you had any experience with this kind of thing before?
Yes, I went to Los Angeles when I lived in California with the youth group from our church. I went mainly to pray for them, because that's really my big ministry, is praying.
And we're going to
For
talk
the
about
different
that in
things.
another video too, just so that you all know.
Yeah. So I went with them to pray, and they asked me, "Do you want to just go and pray, or do you want to be involved in other ways too?" I said, "Oh, no, I want to be involved in any way I can." So I helped serve meals at a mission. I talked with people. I prayed with people. Had many opportunities. We walked through the streets talking with people, homeless, and we went to a karaoke program in a church.
How fun.
They open it up for the homeless people once a week.
Oh, that's so
And so
neat.
we went to that, and it was really fun, and
That's
meeting people. So it was just a great experience. And so I thought, well, this might be something I'd be interested in.
yeah. Well, and your church in at
Atascadero.
Tascadero, they had a homeless program too, right?
Yes, they did. They had along with several other churches in the area, they had a homeless ministry they had been given another church that went defunct. And that church they've turned into a homeless center. So they have a
That's
place with lots
cool.
of beds, put in showers. They feed them a meal every night. Um, and I was asked to come and sit and eat meals with them once a week and pray with people.
That's so
And
cool.
that was an incredible experience and opportunity, just to meet these people and talk with them about where they were at and what they were going through, and then to pray with them. And I love that. So
That's really
it's
cool.
kind of, where I'm going from.
Uh-huh. Right, right. Okay, so
Mhm.
now tell more about what this group is and what you're looking at.
Okay, so So I don't know that much about this group, only what our pastor has shared, which has not been a whole lot at this point.
So you don't know for sure yet that you want to do something with them. You want to find out more, right?
That's correct. I just wanted to talk with them, and he's going to call her, the lady, first and have her call me. Her name is Joanne. And she will call me and we'll talk, and then probably set up an appointment for another gal from here and I to go down and talk with her and see the place. And then we'll kind of go from there and just kind of feel our way through, and praying all the time for God's direction, of course. So it's kind of exciting for me. It's another stepping out for me, which I have to do a lot of, and more so.
And you're not really afraid to do stuff like that, to try something new?
No, it always makes me a little bit nervous right at first.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess there is some fear, just because it's new and different. But once I set foot in it, I just seem to warm up, and I enjoy doing whatever it is that God has for me to do. And I know He wouldn't give me anything to do that He would make hard for me.
Right. But it might stretch you, right?
It'll stretch me, definitely.
Yeah. Is that something that you want? Do you want to be stretched, or do you kind of dread that, or what?
I want to be stretched. I think we should all be stretched. We all need to be stretched. If we don't keep stretching, we don't get any place. We get stagnant.
Right.
We want to be stagnant.
Okay. Now I know that you don't mind me asking you this question, but for everybody else, how old are you?
I'm 80 years old.
Okay. So you guys, this is not something I'm pretty sure none of you have an excuse to say that you're too old to do something new. Because my mom's 80 and she's doing new things. Mom, what are some of the things that you've done in the past that have stretched you?
Taking the step out to take a walk up California.
Take a walk. Yeah. How many miles was that little walk?
That was 1,050 miles.
Okay. And what about?
And I'm not saying that you did it with me. You walked part of it with me and drove.
Yeah, I walked 250 miles, and then I was her driver for the rest of that, which was like the best summer ever. Right after I graduated from college, it was awesome.
She was a great driver and great planner for things to happen for us too.
And I did the laundry.
Yes, that was a real
what's another thing that God's called you to do that stretched you?
Oh boy, there's so many things. Well, for one thing, moving to Albuquerque from California. I've lived in California all my life, and 2 years ago, we just really felt like this was where we were supposed to move to. And
you and Dad had always said you would never leave California.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we really, I really didn't want to sell our house there. I loved our home there. I figured awesome house. That would be where we lived out our lives. The end
and
of
your
our
church lives. Was a wonder. It was really a fantastic church too. Yeah. And a beautiful place to live, beautiful scenery. So how did you know, or how did God start leading you to move?
Well, I looked at this place just for fun one day. I'd been out with two of my granddaughters out on a girls' day out. And we ended up looking at mobile homes just for fun. And a guy at one mobile home sales place said, why don't you go to Albuquerque Meadows and look at some homes there that are being, that have been used and that are now for sale. They'll be happy to show them to you. So for fun, we did. And I walked into one and I go, oh my goodness, I could live here. And so one thing led to another. My granddaughter said, we'll be here to help you too. So that made it even more attractive. And my husband's health was not real good. And so it ended up, we took that step of selling our house, moving everything from California to New Mexico, lived in a motorhome for 2 months when we first got here. It was right at the beginning of COVID. We left California on the day the lockdown started.
Oh my gosh.
So that was really a a big step of faith there.
And what did you have to do when you got to New Mexico because of that?
First of all, we had to live in a motel for 2 weeks because we didn't really know what else to do at that point.
Because you were quarantined, right?
Yes, we were all quarantined, and our granddaughter and her children, we couldn't see each other except through the window of their house. And we would go to we went to their house every evening for dinner at their request. And we'd call just before we got there a little bit, and she would set dinner outside the window on a table. We'd have chairs there, and we ate. We turned on our phones and talked through our phones as we ate.
That's
and
so great.
They ate inside and we ate outside and got to share that way. So that was really interesting.
With your great grandkids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. And your dogs, didn't you bring Pearl and they had their dogs too?
Yes. They had just one dog at the time. And we had, yeah. So those two dogs didn't really get along.
Right. Well, so how did you know that this was God leading you, or did you know for sure?
Well, I sensed it, but to really know for sure until we got here, I think I knew, but I didn't know. We needed to do that, take that step. After 2 months of living in our motorhome, we finally said, okay, let's go look at houses. They are open for looking. We can go look and we can see. Well, we found one right away. So we moved in as soon as we could, which was a couple weeks later. We didn't have to wait too long. Mm-hmm. And we got in and found out after we got here that they have church services here in the park. It's a senior community, and they have church services right here. So we thought, okay, let's go check it out, because you never know what they're going to be like.
Right. So you didn't know that before you moved. You were leaving this really incredibly awesome church.
Right.
But you followed what God was saying to do, even though you were leaving friends, family, the state you had always lived in, that you always said you were never going to leave. You were leaving a church, and God's provided. How has he provided? He's provided a wonderful church.
Yeah. The church here, it met outside at first because of COVID. So we were meeting outside. And we just fell in love with it the first Sunday. They were preaching the word of God, and that's what we were looking for. They were very friendly and open. There were probably about 12 to 15 people there the first time. It was incredible, though, the way we got together, and just we loved it. So we didn't have to go look for a church anyplace. We had our church.
Yeah. And that's so neat how God's provided that, because usually when you move to a new area, it's like maybe 2 or 3 years to find a church, and you just go through this horrible dry period while you're doing that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so we were blessed with that. Plus, over the last 2 years, before Dad died in February, he was able to go to church and everything. We would walk over there as much as possible. At first, he used a cane, and gradually got worse. He had to use a walker, but we made it to church. Every Sunday we were around, and began to make friends. I began to feel that God was leading me into some sort of ministry within the church there too, and here. And all of a sudden it hit me, the women needed something to get together. And so we started a ladies group, and first it met at our house. And now we're meeting in the library here at the Meadows, at Albuquerque Meadows.
That's so cool. So give our group some idea of how you started that ministry. I mean, you saw a need, but then how did you actually go about starting it?
Well, I talked with the pastors first and told them what I was thinking about. And I wondered, is this something that they felt was a need? And they jumped on it. They said, oh, yes, do that. That would be so good. So then they had me announce it when we were going to have our first one. And the first one was just kind of a get together to find out what we wanted to do, what kind of a group this would be. Because I really didn't know if it was going to be a Bible study or what. And out of that first time, I found that these women were they just needed the companionship, and they loved to talk. And so we started a women's chat group. So it's called the Ladies Chat. And out of that, each time, the Sunday before, we only meet twice a month at this point. And the Sunday before we meet, I announce what our main topic will be. And we come together and we start out talking about that topic, and then going to just dealing with issues that we have and sharing. And one gal I will never forget, the second or third week that we met, she said, you know, my last close friend just died recently, and I thought, I'm not going to have any more friends. I don't even want to make friends.
Oh.
And she said, I just felt like I didn't want to lose any more friends. And then she said, this started, and I feel like I have my friends, and I have a good group of friends. And she was just so grateful.
Oh, that's so neat.
So I knew that was really God's leading. And the pastors have encouraged me so much in this, and I just feel really blessed to be able to do this. And I love just chatting with these ladies. And like our topics vary quite a bit. Last time our topic was on faith and how we live our faith, or what things take faith, and how do we, respond to a call to step out in faith. And it was very interesting. We actually talked the whole meeting about that, which we usually do it.
Yeah. So I think this is really cool. And this is an important thing that we've been talking about in the group a little bit, is that a ministry doesn't have to be like a Bible study, It's just anything that's helping people to grow in their faith, or that's helping people meet physical needs, like the stuff with the homeless and stuff. So what needs would you say that this ministry meets specifically?
Loneliness, very specifically, and just friendship, just being a friend and being there to have someone you can call to say, hey, I need prayer. Would you pray for this? And one of the gals has a husband who has Alzheimer's, and she's taking care of him right now. And so every so often she calls me and says, I just need to talk. Can I come over? And she does. And we sit and talk, and then I pray with her. And it just, helps her through this time, because that's not an easy thing to go through.
Yeah. Well, and just the opportunity to talk. It's like, because men need friendships, but women especially need to talk.
Yes.
It's like you hear all these studies about how, like men have to say so many words per day, and women need to say many, many more words per day. And when you're by yourself, who do you talk to? And yeah, I mean, so it really is a need to be able to talk. So that's really important too. And you're definitely also helping them grow in their faith.
Yeah. And I'm finding that need to talk with ladies more now since my husband is gone. Without him, I'm finding myself alone in the house an awful lot.
Yeah.
And it's too hot right now to really go out. I'm staying in the air conditioning. So it's hard to, go out and just take a walk. I take a walk early morning and stuff like that. But during the day, you're kind of stuck in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so this really helps. There's one other thing. I'm not sure that you've thought about this in your ministry, but you have provided a ministry to somebody else in the group when you're gone.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, there's another gal who, because I do travel quite a bit, this other gal has taken over the leadership when I'm gone. And so between us, we were meeting at my house when I was here, and at her house when I was gone. And the gals said, this gets too confusing for us, because it's a senior community. So it is very confusing. So we decided to start meeting in the clubhouse, and we're meeting in the clubhouse library now. And that works really well for us.
Okay, when you say clubhouse, I imagine a tree house. You're all climbing up the tree.
Absolutely.
No, but see, I think that's really cool because whenever we have a ministry, not whenever, but quite often when we have a ministry that involves other people, sometimes when you have a ministry that's completely by yourself, this might not happen. But when you have a ministry that involves other people, a lot of times just organically, that helps you to be able to give other people ministry opportunities. And it's also something to think about, you guys, when you're getting established in your ministry, start thinking about how you can train other people in what you're doing. For one thing, my dad used to always say that he liked to work himself out of a job and train other people to do things, and then he could move on to something else, which I've kind of gotten that from him. But also just, your ministry is not only to those people, it's helping them to learn to minister too. And, like, I think that you inspire people to minister also.
Yeah, and we minister to each other really an awful lot because we can share together like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I just hope that did you want to say anything else, Mom, about this?
I think that's pretty good, at least unless you have another question.
Okay. So stay there because, Mom, we're still going to talk. I'm just going to stop this particular recording. And you guys, we're going to have a few more with my mom, specifically about prayer walking, but there's also something else that I want to talk to her about in another video. So bye, and we'll see you guys later. We love you. Bye-bye.